Print, email, Facebook, Twitter. More. Sydney beats Fremantle at the SCG, as Lance Franklin reaches 300 Swans goals. Magpies, power, Dons and Roos win. Lance Franklin reached another landmark in Sydney's win over Fremantle but could miss weeks after an errant elbow, while Collingwood got the points over St Kilda, after wins for the Bombers, Power, and Kangaroos. Franklin joined another great Sydney forward Tony Lockett in the record books, with the Swans smashing Fremantle by 59 points at the SCG back after missing 3 games with a bruised heel. Franklin kicked 3.1 as the Swans won 17.9, 111, to 7.10, 52, to notch their second win in 5 home games this year. With his second goal in the third quarter, the former Hawk joined legendary Saint and Swan Lockett as the only men to kick 300 goals for 2 fellow AFL clubs. It won't go down as one of Franklin's best games. He looked a little rusty early, and an elbow which caught Joel Hamling on the chin in the second quarter may attract the attention of match review officer Michael Christian. It happened in the second quarter and Hamling didn't return after half-time. Franklin's former Hawthorn teammate and current Sydney captain Josh Kennedy marked his 200th game for the Swans with an equal career-best 3-goal haul. External link, Swans v Dockers. Summary loading. An impressive Swans side recorded their biggest win of the season, while it was the Dockers' 4th interstate loss in as many 2018 games, each by more than 30 points. For the second straight week, Swan back Jake Lloyd notched a career high in disposals, tallying 41, of which only 5 were contested possessions, as Freo's forwards exerted little pressure. Freo won plenty of ball but poor field and goal kicking negated their good work in the contest, and a far more clinical Sydney made them pay. Dockers ruckman Aaron Sandilands dominated the hitouts and kicked 2 goals after being pushed up to full forward in the final quarter. Freo's midfield prime movers Lachie Neale, Nat Fyfe and David Mundy had little impact despite racking up 80 touches between them. External link, Swans v Dockers. Stats loading. Sydney's Zach Jones came off the ground with an injury in the final quarter. The wasteful Dockers hit the post 3 times in their first 4 shots, with Michael Walters the chief culprit with 2. Despite his wastefulness, Waters was Freo's most dangerous player early on and kicked their only first half goal. By quarter time, Freo were down by 17 points despite leading by 10 in contested possessions and hitouts and by 6 in clearances. It was a similar story in the second, with Sydney kicking 4 goals to 1 despite Freo finishing the half with 21 more hitouts and 10 more clearances. After Goey kicks 6 as Spies beat Saints, Jordan De Goey's stocks have continued to rise, with the mercurial Collingwood forward kicking a career-high 6 goals in the Magpies' 28-point AFL victory over slumping St Kilda. Out of contract at the end of 2018, De Goey picked the perfect time to showcase his wares against one of the teams expected to chase his signature if he decided on a change. But having also booted 5 majors a fortnight ago in a tight win against Brisbane, De Goey's value to the Magpies is also rising by the day. The former number 5 draft pick had made a belated start to the 2018 campaign, due to a club-imposed ban for drink driving and a hamstring strain, but is firing on all cylinders. External link, St Kilda v Collingwood. Summary loading. The Saints came into Saturday night's encounter at Etihad Stadium desperately in need of a change of fortunes, having won only one of their opening 8 matches. St Kilda held their own in a tight opening 2 terms and shot out to an 8-point lead 50 seconds into the third quarter. Surprise packet Jack Nunes booted his 4th goal, the first time in his 122-game career he had managed more than 2 in a match. But rather than inspire St Kilda, it sparked the Magpies, who kicked 7 of the remaining 8 goals for the term, including a flying effort by De Goey on the 3-quarter time siren. The final quarter was pretty much a non-event, with both teams managing a goal apiece in junk time. External link, St Kilda v Collingwood. Stats loading. The 15.10, 100, to 10.12, 72, victory was the improving Collingwood's 5th win in their past 7 matches, and they were able to get the job done after playing 1 short for most of the night. Forward Alex Fasolo, back in the senior lineup for the first time this year, limped off early in the second quarter with a leg injury and did not return. The Magpies were best served by skipper Scott Pendlebury, Jack Crisp, Steele Sidebottom and De Goey, who was a model of efficiency with 6 goals from his 9 kicks. Luke Dunstan was clearly St Kilda's best player with 18 contested possessions among his 32 disposals, while Jack Steele had a game-high 10 tackles to go with his 22 possessions. Up power too strong again in Shanghai Port Port Adelaide has continued its unbeaten record in China, accounting for the Gold Coast Suns by 40 points on a damp day in Shanghai. It was a difficult day for football, although the expected heat didn't materialise. The rain made it difficult to control the football. The Suns were looking to show more for than the equivalent game last year when they were pumped by 72 points by the Power. Matt Rosa, who was a late inclusion for the All Jack Martin, got Gold Coast off to a great start when he steered a goal through after 90 seconds, but the Power soon steadied. External link, Suns v Port Adelaide summary loading. Goals to Chad Wingard, Sam Gray and Tom Rockcliffe put the Power in front, before debutant Jacob Heron answered for the Suns. The first quarter ended with Port leading by 9 points, but the second term was much more of a slog with only 2 goals scored and the lead was out to 13 points. The Power missed opportunities, but the Suns were bringing as much pressure as they could in the conditions. The problem for the Suns as the game wore on was that they had far less forward entries than Port Adelaide, and when they did go forward quite often the ball was chopped off by the Power's solid defence. External link, Suns v Port Adelaide stats loading. Port Adelaide ended up with 9 marks inside 50 to the Suns 1, a sign, perhaps, of the absence of tools for Gold Coast like the injured Tom Lynch and Peter Wright and the suspended Sam Day. That lead was out to 20 points by the final change, and Gold Coast's young side tied in the final quarter, failing to score as Port Adelaide finished things off with a 3-goal final term. Both sides will now have the bye in round 10. Before the Suns will breathe a sigh of relief as they finally get to play a game at their home ground at Carrara. The stadium has been out of bounds for the first part of the season due to the Commonwealth Games. Meanwhile, Ken Hinckley's men have kept up their challenge for the top 4, although Melbourne and Hawthorn could still overtake them by the end of the round. Bombers bounce back to stun the Cats. Essendon has rebounded from a week of heavy scrutiny to thump Geelong, ripping up the form book with a 34-point win at the Magpies. The Bombers were unrecognisable from their previous month's efforts in the 12.12, 84 to 7.8, 50 success. John Worsfold's side came into the contest on the back of a loss against previously winless rivals Carlton, sacking key assistant Mark Neild in the aftermath. Their clash with the third-place Cats wasn't supposed to be close, and it wasn't. External link, Essendon v Geelong summary loading. Zach Merritt and Dyson Heppel were heroic in midfield. High-pressure specialist Devon Smith led a fleet of tackle-hungry Bombers and Sean McKernan was the game's dominant forward with a 4-goal haul, all in the first half. Cale Hooker was super in defence and first gamer Jordan Ridley had 25 disposals, but the Bombers had few passengers. From the outset, Essendon brought a ferocious intensity Chris Scott's side couldn't handle, both out-tackling them and seeing more of the footy. The Bombers were ruthless hunters and clean users. Time and again they took the game on, kicking through the corridor and getting their reward with goals over the back. External link, Essendon v Geelong stats loading. The Cats just couldn't get started and saw the game slip away during an awful second term, scoring just 1 point. A behind scored by Gary Ablett prevented the Cats from their first pointless quarter in 8 years. Geelong's Brownlow medalist Patrick Dangerfield, 23 disposals, 2 goals, and Ablett, 15 disposals, had little impact on the contest, with Dangerfield even spending time in the ruck. The Cats had few winners and didn't take a mark inside 50 until time on in the last term. 4 goals in the fourth quarter, including 3 from Tom Hawkins, saved the Cats from a low score of historic proportions. Up Kangaroos bounced the Giants in Hobart. A 5-goal third term from Ben Brown has inspired North Melbourne to a 43-point win over an understrength Greater Western Sydney in Hobart. Kept scoreless in Saturday afternoon's first half. Brown starred in the premiership quarter, as the Kangaroos powered home to a 17.10, 112 to 9.15, 69 victory. The Tasmanian native, who extended his lead in the race for the Coleman medal, was supported by a 4-goal haul from veteran Jared Waite. In a match that swung towards whoever had the breeze, North Melbourne opened up a 33-point lead heading into the last quarter. GWS had the win behind them in the final term at Bellerive Oval but couldn't track the Roos down. External link, North Melbourne v GWS Giants summary loading. The win backs up North Melbourne's strong showing last weekend against Richmond and strengthens the Kangaroos' top 8 claims. They were stronger in the clearances, while Shaun Higgins finished with a game-high 28 touches. Waite, a last-minute inclusion after overcoming a corked hip, was in the thick of the action early. He kicked 3 goals for the opening quarter, opening a 34-11 lead at the first break. The Giants grabbed the momentum in the second quarter, kicking 4 straight goals and hitting lead midway through the term. Mason Wood nabbed a goal with his first touch to help GWS to a slender 52-47 advantage at half-time. External link, North Melbourne v GWS Giants stats loading. Brown had been kept quiet by the returning Tim Moore but put his stamp on the match with back-to-back goals to open the third quarter. He put the exclamation mark on a dominant quarter with his 5th moments before the siren, giving the Kangaroos a 92-59 lead. Trent Dumont landed a crucial first blow for North against the wind in the last term before the Giants fell away. GWS again struggled to convert their chances without a host of key players including co-captain Phil Davis, Josh Kelly, and Brett Deledio. Stephen Caniglio led the touches for GWS with 25, while Jacob Hopper was also strong. Up AFL ladder external link, AFL 2018 ladder loading. ABC/up print email